Welcome to a special edition of Love, Life, and Marriage with
The Woods.
I am Seiko.
And I'm Sharon.
And welcome to our channel. Please do the following. Please like, subscribe, share. Hit the notification bell at the bottom of the video so that when we go live or post any videos, you'll be one of the first ones to view it. Also, if you'd like to support the ministry financially, you can do that as well through the donation and support options below the screen. As you can see, I am not sitting beside my bride because we wanted to do something special and actually unprecedented. And you'll see why in just a minute. I will be the man behind the camera. My lovely will be the lady in front of the camera because we want to share, well, actually she is going to share a very special, unique experience to some, but not unfortunately to all, because we know that in light of things that have been going on in our world and in some relationships, abuse and unfortunate tragedies like death occur in marriages and in relationships. And so my wife, prior to us being married, she had experienced abuse. Thank God not by me, but the reason why we are doing this, the reason why she decided to come out and to speak and to come forward is because she has shared with me and wants to share with the viewing audience relationship that she had underwent years ago that even to this day I believe may have some lingering effects, but we'll find out. I am not privy to everything that has occurred, so I will be asking her questions. It will be a real live conversation, as we always do, but I think this is going to be even more deeper. So, dear, here we are. It's been a while since we have been on our platform due to a lot of things that's been going on, but here we are, and we are starting with something that is unique. And so we always said we want to discuss love, life, and marriage, and so this is the life portion. Your life is going to be on display for everybody to see and to hear, and hopefully, others will be able to resonate with it and identify with it, and ultimately, will be able to seek the help and the support that is necessary for them to have in coming out of abusive relationships. We know some people may even experience those things. But why did you decide, out of all this time, out of all these years, to come forward and to speak out about this situation?
Well, mainly because, as everybody knows, what you have been currently dealing with on social media for the past couple of weeks, I believe. Mm-hmm. Dealing with Marcus Rogers and those who follow him, those who support him, and the like. I've just noticed a trend with the women that have followed him and that are still following him, unfortunately. It's a mental tactic of abuse. And, I told you when this first started, when I was listening to these women's comments, watching these ladies' comments and listening to them speak in their comments, one of the things I said was, I recognize abuse a mile away. Mm-hmm. And I recognize the signs and the verbiage and, all of those things of how women typically respond when they are so linked to someone who is not only verbally abusive, but even physically abusive. And I just saw a lot of that when we were dealing with that and are still dealing with it. We even saw some of it today. But, that's what really pushed me to want to come out and speak about what I lived through, what I went through, and ultimately how God delivered me from it.
So okay, well let's start from the beginning. I mean, because everything has a beginning. So, what was the beginning, and how did you get involved in this relationship? Is this the only abusive relationship you had, or have you been abused in any other relationships, or this the main one?
This is the only one.
The only one?
The only one.
How long had it been?
How long did it last?
Yes.
Oh my. I would say from around age 12 or 13.
12 years old. So you were a child, preteen, and you were involved in a relationship with a boy. How did your parents, how did that happen? Was that
Of course, my dad, of course, was not, supportive of that. And we just called each other. You know how you do. You call each other boyfriend and girlfriend back in those days. But it didn't become a thing until we were old enough to drive, which was like 16.
Okay.
So from, I would say 12 or 13 to 16, there was no dating. There was none of that. We would occasionally see each other at church, but it was none of that. Real dating stuff didn't take place until later, but it lasted from age 12 or 13, around that area, to age 27.
How did you meet this guy?
Well, I was introduced to him, and I'm going to leave his name out.
To protect the guilty?
Well, I mean, yeah, and also because of the fact that, and I'll put this in there now. I'll say this now, and I'll probably say this at the end as well. But this particular individual has came to me and sought my forgiveness. So that is one of the reasons why I decided not to name this person, because this person is no longer who that person was back then. Okay. But anyway, all right. What was your question? You asked me something else.
I said, how did you meet him?
Oh, yeah. A really good friend of mine, someone who I'm still friends with to this day.
She's a good friend of yours to this day, and she hooked you up with this person?
Yes. Okay. Of course, she didn't know either.
Do I know this person?
Yes, you do.
I do?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, you do.
All right.
She was here a few months ago.
Okay.
Or about
she didn't know. She didn't know. I know she didn't know no better. She didn't know.
No, she did not. But yeah, she introduced us in middle school to this person. And now, when we were in middle school, just to give you kind of a visual and to have a kind of a thought process of what was actually going on, my friend and the person that she introduced me to were in advanced classes. They were in what was called Vanguard classes, which means their classes were upstairs, and I was a regular kid. My classes were downstairs. So that was for advanced children back then. So
the brainiacs.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then, so you met this boy, young man, 8 to 12, 7th, 8th grade, through a close friend that you're still friends with to this day.
Yeah.
But what attracted you to him? What drew you to him? Why was this? What made this boy have this, this alluring attraction to you?
Oh my goodness, this is somewhat embarrassing,
okay.
But truth be known,
tell the truth.
I was, and I say was because I'm not a fanatic anymore, but I was back then.
That's because you did.
You have to say that.
Okay, well, let's find out. Go ahead.
I was back then a true-hearted Prince fan. And I guess you would probably say, what does that have to do with anything?
Right. What does it? Yes, please tell us.
Well, this particular individual had very close similarities. Physical features, stature, all of that.
He was short?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Light skin?
Yes, very light skin.
Okay. He played guitar?
He played any instrument.
Oh, he did?
And he played instruments that he taught himself how to play.
Talking about the guy that you were with?
Yes, the guy that I was with.
He wore heels too?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking. I mean, did he wear booty cheek pants too?
No.
Okay. I'm just asking. I mean, we want to know.
No, he
Okay.
didn't do all of that.
All
It was
right.
just the alluring. That was the alluring factor for me because of how he looked, who he reminded me of, and again, that was his nickname. That's what they called him in school. They called him Little Prince.
They call him Little Prince. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you were attracted to him physically. He basically knew how to play instruments, and that was the catch for you. I mean, what was it? Anything else? But just because you liked Prince and you saw him, that was pretty much your what? I mean,
that was the biggest factor. But he was also smart.
okay.
That was another thing. But all of the other characteristics and things didn't come out until much later.
Okay. So that's the attraction. So what how did things change? What was some of the things that you saw that began to take you out of this I guess you could say infatuation to where it now moves from an attraction phase to being deluded or being deceived? But you may not have seen that. I mean, I'm just asking because if it's been that long of a relationship of abuse, then when did that abuse occur? When did it start?
Oh man, the actual abuse didn't start. Well, I would have to say within the first year.
Within the first year that y'all were together?
Not the physical part.
Right, okay. So what kind of abuse you talking
about? Isolation.
Isolation. What kind of isolation? I mean, when you say isolation, you a teenager still? Are you talking about isolating? Okay.
Yeah. Like he wanted to control who my friends were. He wanted
all your friends or certain friends?
Most of them. Yeah.
Okay.
And really, he didn't like most of my friends. For whatever reason, they had never given him a reason not to like them.
Did you have male friends, or are you talking about just female friends?
Either or.
Okay.
But it was mostly my girlfriends that he didn't like.
Okay.
And didn't want me to hang around with them. He wanted me to be with him all the time. We didn't have, at that particular school, we didn't have lunches together either. They had their own lunch and we had our own lunch. So there was no co-mingling during lunchtime and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that didn't happen until much later. But like I was saying, the isolation part that started early in the relationship.
Did you have a problem with it? I mean, did you consider he just did that jealousy thing? But was it kind of cute, or just what? I mean, you had a problem with it?
Yes, I thought it was cute. I didn't think anything of it. No red flags were raised to me in my head about, no guy should ever have that much control over you. And let me just add this as well. I had a really good relationship with my dad, which is one of the reasons that baffles me as to why I even fell into this. Because I never felt like I was unloved or unwanted. I never felt that in my home life. So I don't know what the attraction was for me to feel like that was something that I had to put myself into or let myself get involved in something like that. Because my home life didn't resemble that. It wasn't lacking anything.
Did you? So you said that he isolated you from friends. Were you isolated from family too?
Yes, family too.
What kind of family? When you say isolated you from your family, so you didn't want you to see your family?
Like okay, let's just say for holidays. Okay, and this would be like maybe this came like a year or two into the relationship, like 13, 14 that time. Because like I said, we weren't dating then. Yeah. We couldn't go nowhere. We couldn't drive. So anywhere we went, his mom would take us or either my mom would take us. But during the holidays, like if my mom, during the holidays, we always went to my relative's house. So he would want my mom to bring me over to his house or his grandmother's house and stay there and not go with where my family was. And of course my mom wasn't having it. So that at that particular time that didn't happen. But when I started driving, that's when it got increasingly worse because he knew I had my own car. So I was I was kind of like forced into being over there where his people were. I would go to my family's house, but then I'd leave. You know, so yeah, it was that kind of thing.
So then he controlled who you saw. He controlled how long or how much time you spent with them.
Yeah,
that's it.
All of that. Yeah.
Did he give you a time limit, or did you just basically just knew when it was time to basically cut the visit short?
No, I mean, I knew that, you know, after about 2 hours or so, I'd be gone.
And what age was this?
I would say if I was driving, it had to have been after 16 or at 16.
After 16.
Because I had my own car at 16. So.
Okay. What was did he have other relationships with other people, or just with just you?
Oh, yeah. So around 14 or so, maybe, yeah, it had to have been 14 or 15 because this person was like 3 years younger than me. So it had to have been 14, 15 because she was probably about 13 at the time. It was somebody that went to his church. We didn't go to the same church. We went to different churches. But he met a girl at his church and started talking to her. And I don't know how I found out. I don't remember. Yeah, I do. I do remember now because there was another girl there that I knew. She knew me from just coming there visiting because I was there with him. She asked me if he was still my boyfriend or was he so-and-so's boyfriend. And I was like, no, he's my boyfriend. Why are you saying this? Why are you asking me that? Well, because when you're not here, he's always with her. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But to give a little background, the reason why we were at church, and this was before I even started driving, this was my mom would take me to his church because he was a quote-unquote minister at the time, and I don't remember exactly how old he was when he preached his first sermon, but I know my mother and I were there.
And y'all were so he's a teenager.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And he was ordained as a minister as a teen.
Yes. And you know how our churches were back then.
Yeah.
If you say you were called to preach, you know,
right,
they didn't put you through no test. They didn't put you through no, you know, how much do you know or what do you believe about this, that, and the other. That was never done.
He just had a calling, that was it.
You got a calling, that's it. They gonna let you get up there and preach, whether you bomb or not.
Okay.
And I tell you this, his first sermon lasted probably 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
12.
Do you remember what it was?
Do you
remember what it was?
I don't remember. I don't even know what he said. No.
Okay.
And I'm sure it was nothing with any substance.
Okay.
But yeah.
So the girl that was, so the girl went to his church that he was seeing, and then what happened with that? I mean, did y'all eventually go to the same church, or did y'all ever meet each other? I mean, how did that? How was that arrangement?
Well, this is where it gets funny, because he made it a point to tell me that he liked this girl.
He told you that?
He told me that.
Okay. And
he also told me that he didn't want to let her go. He didn't want to leave her. He didn't want to not see her anymore.
And how long have y'all been together? And this
probably a year or so, maybe.
Still a year, so this is still like new.
This is brand new, yeah.
And you didn't see a problem with that? I mean, why? If so your dad is at home, you're getting the love and the affection and affirmation from your father. But both of your parents, your mother and father, but your father is there in your life. You are now with a guy, a boy, that is basically not treating you with respect, and you still stayed. Why? Why? What was the reason for that? Knowing that he had somebody else, what was your mindset at that time to accept that?
I would have to say immaturity.
Immaturity. Okay.
Immaturity, lack of knowledge, not knowing what value I had and whose I was. And I don't believe at that point in my life that I was truly saved.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew who God was. I mean, I knew of him.
Right.
I knew,
Yeah.
but I was not living a lifestyle according to what the scriptures tell me to, as to how I should have conducted myself as a young lady.
Yeah.
But from that point on, she stayed in the relationship with us for, I can't even tell you, maybe 10 years.
10 years.
Maybe.
Okay, so she stayed in the... Did you say she stayed in the relationship with us?
With us. Yes.
I thought I heard you say that. Okay, so...
So there were 3.
Oh my goodness. So
Yes.
she stayed in the relationship with us. You didn't just say she stayed in a relationship. So, okay, so y'all having like a threesome thing.
Well, it wasn't a threesome because we were never intimate like that.
Okay, so it was never...
And not at that point anyway. We weren't intimate like that.
Okay, but y'all never had a threesome together?
No,
okay.
never.
Did he ever want you to have a threesome with him?
No, he never
Okay.
asked me to.
Okay.
No.
What were some things that y'all did together then?
We celebrated birthdays together, particularly his.
Together, both
Yes.
girls,
When
both
his
women.
birthday came, it was her and I together with him. Now by this time we were driving. I would either go pick her up or she would come to the house and we would all 3 leave and probably go to the movies.
So you would pick this girl up.
Yes.
To see your man.
Yes.
And she would be her man too.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Did any of your friends know this? Did any of your friends know that this relationship was like that?
I don't think my friends knew, but I know for certain his friends knew. His friends definitely knew because she would go places with him, with his friends, or they would come over to the house and she would be there and I wouldn't be there. So, and his family knew.
Okay. So, birthdays, holidays.
Yep.
Any other special occasions? Y'all basically. So, were there any other one besides the two of you though? You sure?
Well,
There was only 2 women that you know that I mean, to your knowledge, those are the only y'all were his 2 main squeezes
in the relationship.
In the relationship.
Yes, but there were other women. I know that for sure. Yes.
Besides the 2 of you.
Yes.
And did you ever confront him about that?
Not until later.
Not until later. Okay. So y'all celebrated birthdays, holidays, things like that.
Yeah.
Where you say you would pick her up?
Yes. So.
Pick her from where?
I would pick her up. There were times when I would pick her up from her house and bring her back to his house.
Okay.
And then we would all 3 leave and go out. But also, this was later on in the relationship, though. I would, this is when I was working. I had my own car. She went to school in Waco.
Waco, like, is that west? Is Waco west? Is Waco?
Yes.
Okay, West Texas.
You go through Bryan and then go. Yeah.
Okay.
She went to school out there. She went to Baylor. There were times when I would get off on a Friday evening and he would want me to go to Waco to pick her up.
Why didn't he go pick her up?
He didn't have a car.
So he didn't have a car.
No.
You had a car.
Yes.
And he would make you pick her up from Waco.
Pick her up.
And how many hours of a drive that is?
That's about 3.5.
So 3.5 hours. So you get up at 5 o'clock. Let's say 5 o'clock.
Get off at 6.
Get up at 6. So you get up at 6 o'clock. You would immediately leave and just go up to Waco.
Yep. And I wouldn't get there till about 9:30.
And you had to drive right back.
Yep.
Where were your parents?
At home.
They didn't say anything?
No. I just told them I'd be home later.
And how old were you then?
I was at that time I was probably in my early 20s. Yeah.
Okay,
early
so
20s.
so from 12,
Probably
13,
21 or somewhere in there.
12, 13 years. Let's just say let's say 8 years have now elapsed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're 20 years old. From that 8-year time frame,
Mm-hmm.
what were some of the things, that you experienced during that 8-year time? But before you get to the latter part of your relationship with this guy, I'm trying to find out, because if you were driving from Houston to Waco, which is a 3.5-hour drive, I'm thinking there had to be some kind of a build up to the demands, or was he automatically just demanding you to do this, do this, do this? I mean, what were some things that were occurring?
Yeah, that started, like I said, if you go back when I was saying when we were in middle school,
yeah,
and then in high school, and when we got to high school, we went to high school together in our freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I convinced my mother to allow me to go to this school, even though I was not even zoned to this high school.
Mm.
I don't know what I said to convince her to let me go to this school that I was not even zoned to.
Mm.
I was zoned to a school 5 minutes down the road. So my mom had to go through all of this stuff to get my aunt to be my legal guardian so I could change my address to go to this school where he was going to be.
So why did you do that?
Because I wanted to be there.
Because you wanted to be at the same school he was?
With him, yes.
Was the girl there too?
No, it was just he and I at this school.
Okay.
The other girl, I don't think she was in high school yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, because she was like 3 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so during high school is when things got really intense, I guess. He became more demanding, more combative, I guess you could say, in his verbiage. And I want to say high school is when the physical abuse actually started.
So the physical abuse, so it didn't immediately start?
No.
So it progressed.
It progressed. And I want to say it started when this other girl came along.
The other girl, meaning the same one that you were picking up?
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, so and this was when you were still in your teens, or?
Yeah.
Okay. And so had he ever been abusive toward her?
Yes.
So he's abusive toward both of you.
Yes.
Did y'all ever discuss this? Did y'all ever
Yes.
talk about this? Did y'all ever say, you know what? Why are we putting up with this? We shouldn't have to put up with this. Why are we here?
That was not our conversation.
Y'all never had a conversation, but y'all
not until much later.
Okay, so y'all both were being mistreated, both being abused, both being dogged out, taken advantage of, being used, and y'all never really discussed that until later.
Much later.
Much later.
How
much
we were in our, I would say, in my mid-20s.
Okay, so from teen years to your adult years now, young adult years, you allowed yourself to be subjected in an abusive relationship.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and your parents, did they know about it?
No.
They never knew about it?
No, my parents did not have a clue. And, that's one of the things that I want to say is for young ladies to always talk to their parents. Things to watch out for. If you're always wanting to spend time with this person and not spend time with your family, if you're dating someone and they are constantly wanting you to be with them and not with your family, then they're not respecting you. They're not respecting your family, your parents. I mean, in my head, of course, there were times when I was thinking, this guy has no respect, not even for me, but not only for me, but for my parents.
Yeah.
Because if there was a certain time I had to be home, he would take my car and not come back until way after the time I was supposed to be back home. And ended up wrecking my car one time, and I had to go home and tell my father that.
Let's cut it right there. I want to pick back up on that on the other side of this video. We're gonna stop right here because I think this is going to get much more deeper. And so for the sake of time, we're gonna stop this video here. So those of you who are watching this video and have already heard just the portion of what my wife has shared. Understand this is a real life situation that we're dealing with. I'm pretty sure there are women out there, and maybe even some men, but I know that there are women out there that can probably relate just on the little bit of the information and on the experience that my wife went through as well. So if you would like to reach out to her, and if you need help in getting out of abusive relationships and situations like this, whether you are dating someone or if you're married to someone, we want to help you with that. So the information we'll put, it'll be on the screen. The email information will be on the screen. And reach out to us, and particularly my wife, and we'll do what we can to point you in the right direction and get you the help and assistance that you need. So we're gonna end this video for now, and we'll come back on the other side of this video next week. And until then, we love you all. Bye.